Hey guys, in this RedGamingTech video I'm going to be taking a look at Alan Wake, which has finally been released on the PC. First thing I'll do, as with everything, is take a look at the options. It doesn't look like there's much until we go into graphics. It still doesn't look like much, and then we go into advanced, and holy crap, there's a lot of options. I'm actually really pleased that they put some time into the porting of the PC version, and they actually did put in a decent amount of options. You can pretty much customize it however you would like. I'm not sure how the game runs yet, as I haven't even tested it, but we'll find out in a minute. Obviously you've got the options for full screen, VSync, which I've got mine disabled, HUD of course, and brightness, a few other bits and pieces. I'm recording 720p for the purposes of size. Video commentary, of course, audio, same things as normal, just volume pretty much. And finally controls. I'm personally playing with an Xbox 360 joypad, and you've also got FOV, which will please some people. Right, actually, you know what, I'm going to raise that FOV just a little bit. Probably go with, say, that there should do the trick. I've also got a controller, and you can disable vibration, and blah 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 blah. This actually comes with the episodes built in. I'm not going to go to them, however. I'm just going to start a new game, and we'll go with... I think we'll go with normal. Now, I did actually play this game back on its release on the Xbox 360. However, I didn't actually manage to complete it because my Xbox 360 happened to RROD, and then when I got a new 360, I'd already gotten rid of Alan Wake. So...
But there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
The game is highly narrative driven if you've never played it. I imagine quite a few of you people have already seen it.
I've always had a vivid imagination, but this dream unsettled me. It was wild and dark and weird, even by my standards. So yes, it began with a dream.
I'm actually really planning to complete this game. It's one of my favourite releases actually for the Xbox 360.
I was late, desperately trying to reach my destination, a lighthouse. For some urgent reason, I couldn't remember.
Quite interestingly, I'm getting 180 frames per second consistently during the cutscene. That's actually not going down, so it might be a hard limit imposed on the game, I'm not sure.
He was dead. I was convinced they'd put me in jail and I would never see Alice again. Suddenly, his body was gone.
Episode 1, Nightmare. Now the game is set out in different episodes, in case you weren't aware, and the game does quite frequently save, as you'd expect, and that they are primarily, you want to look into the light. No, I do not want to reverse my controls, because that makes me want to cry. You can of course walk, run, and so on. You can also sprint, which is quite nice. Frame rate seems fairly solid considering I've got everything enabled. Now generally speaking, you want to stay in the light in this game.
I had to go to the lighthouse. I knew there was something important waiting for me there.
And it's actually quite nice. Graphically it does look very pretty. I can immediately tell the difference between this and the 360 versions if you've not played them. For a start, the textures are far better in this, and they have put a lot more work into them. Not that Alan Wake on the 360 was ugly by any stretch of the imaginations. It, in my opinion, is still one of the better looking titles on the console. It was very vibrant.
You don't even recognize me, do you, Ryder? You think you're God? You think you can just make up stuff?
I'm probably going to run really fast on this bit. The darkness does not like me, by the way.
You missed your deadline!
Now, water looks awesome. Now, generally speaking in this game, you want to stay into the light, as I've already mentioned. Basically, the enemies become weaker in the light, and I forgot about this bit as well. Enemies know, however, this, and they will do their damnedest to destroy any light around you. This video is not so much of first impressions, as I've said before. I have played the the 360 version quite extensively. However, I haven't particularly played the PC version. In fact, this is my first time playing it. I've only just installed the damn game. I've only just got it from Steam. So, Alan does become a bit tired. I think that's a splendid idea, my friend.
Oh no! Stop! No! Damn it, die! No! No! No!
I'm really happy the game didn't get the axe for the PC, however, because I feel that it was a very good game. Now, throughout the game, you will notice that there are narratives you see on TV or whatever, and there's also a TV show of sorts in the game called Night Springs, believe it or not.
The cabin was a death trap. I had to get out.
Well, that's not through that door. And it is.
Follow the light.
Follow the light, he says. It's been a long time since I played this. As I said, I originally played it back on the early release.
You are hurt. You should go into the light. You are only safe there.
Indeed, get to the safe haven. And I somewhat heal while I'm in the light, which is quite nice.
Well done. I have something important to tell you. It goes like this. For he did not know that beyond the lake he called home lies a deeper, darker ocean green, where waves are both wilder and more serene. To its ports I've been. To its ports I've been. Do you understand?
No.
Follow my light.
In fact, I remember when the PC version of this, back in the days, when it was actually demoed, it was actually used to demonstrate the Q6600 type of processors. In other words, the quad cores, earlier quad cores from Intel. And it looked very impressive. I don't know if anyone...
has been taken over by the dark presence. You can't hurt him now. The darkness protects him from all harm. Only light can drive the darkness away and make him vulnerable again. Here, take the light. Turn your flashlight toward him and burn the darkness away. You did it. Now the darkness no longer protects him, but it's still inside, controlling him. He can't be saved. He's still a threat. He is still your enemy. Here, take the gun.
And shooting them does work, of course. And when they're dead, they have a satisfying explosion.
You've done well. Remember what I've taught you. That is all. I will give you back your dream now.
In the nightmare, a terrible darkness was taking over the world. The lighthouse was the last safe place on Earth.
Okay.
You made me this way, and now I'm gonna kill you.
Now, you don't have to boost it to actually do damage, but without boosting it, it obviously takes a heck of a lot longer. As far as I remember, enemies don't actually drop anything. I could be wrong on that, though. We definitely don't want this guy coming in closer. Now, there is quite a satisfying array of weapons in this, to be honest, and you can also reload faster. Not quite like Gears of War, though. It's not quite an active reload or anything. And we definitely want the extra ammo.
Just like.
And of course that very much does a lot of damage. It's pretty much an insta-kill. Generally speaking, of course, you want to save that for many enemies. Now, I know I'm doing this as more of an introduction to Alan Wake rather than first impressions, but as I've said, I have actually played the game before, so it's a bit unfair to me to pretend otherwise. I'm going to probably guess he didn't like that. The game is actually better than the, PC 360 version. Whether you should pick it up if you've already got the 360 version and played it depends. If you've already got the DLC, then it could be worth it. So if you haven't got the DLC, it could be slightly worth it, because obviously this does come with all the DLC with it. Plus, as well, it's fairly cheap. In the UK at the moment, it's £22, I believe, give or take. I think it's $22.99, so that's not bad. I'm not sure what it is in American dollars, but I mean, definitely the game's great. It's not a traditional survival horror as you would expect with, say, Silent Hill. It's very different. It's a lot more story-driven. Basically, what you see is pretty much Alan's own nightmares. If I can just get a coffee fan, this would be pretty sweet. Now, we want to get into the light. This is one of those instances where staying into the light is a good thing. Now, one of the reasons, of course, it took a long time for it to be released on the PC was because Microsoft wanted a flagship for the 360. Obviously, at the time, the 360 wasn't exactly abundant with exclusives, since it was fairly early into the life of the console.
Shh, baby, just another nightmare. Everything's fine. You dozed off.
Right. Anything more than dozed off would be news for everyone.
Cheer up, handsome. We're here.
Alan Wake's character is actually kind of cool. He's he does kind of remind me as a bit of a poor little feather at times, but he is a good character. Most of the game is actually a good character. Sorry, most of the game's full of good characters actually. And in terms of story, it's pretty good. I mean, obviously it does have a few silly twists here and there, but generally speaking, it's not super cheesy like you get with some survival horrors. And to me, if you are looking for a survival horror in the traditional sense, you're not going to get it, say, if you're expecting, I don't know, let's say Silent Hill 2. But on the other hand, it's a damn sight better than, say, oh, I don't know, Homecoming or something. But it's definitely a great game. I would highly recommend to pick it up. What's also quite nice is the abundance of colours. I mean, as you can see from the actual water, for example, it's beautiful. There's no disputing that the game's ugly by any stretch of the imagination.
Before he missed the shot.
To be honest, I completely lost track of what I was supposed to be doing. Pose, huh? Unfortunately, because I was speaking, I couldn't actually remember where. Ah.
Hi. Hello there. You picked a good time to visit our town. Deerfest is just 2 weeks away.
Deerfest, huh? Did you hear that, honey?
You have a lovely wife. If you don't mind me saying. I'm Pat Maine, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm Alan Wake.
I won't pretend I don't recognize a famous writer such as yourself, Mr. Wake. A pleasure. I'm an avid reader myself. I hope this isn't too...
It's quite nice actually, you can even see the rope
I'm
move.
the night host at the local radio station.
Also, I should chain.
Look, Mr. Maine, I'm on vacation. In fact, I'd appreciate it if we could keep my being here just between the two of us. I'm sure you understand.
Fair enough. You can trust me to be discreet. Not a hard man to track down if you change your mind, though. I hope you two have a lovely holiday.
Very nice. I got a couple of really good ones. And I see you made a friend. That's cute.
Right.
Now, one thing about Alan is he hasn't been very successful recently.
Barry. Yeah.
He's actually on a vacation because he's been having writer's block. So it's basically
No, Barry, we're fine.
he's been struggling for a number of years now to release a decent novel. He's basically every time he tries to put pen to paper, he just can't do it.
Has it gotten your creative juices flowing?
Barry, we're just settling in.
Okay, Al. I'll call back later to make sure you're doing okay. And you call me if there's a problem, okay? Okay. Just looking out for you, buddy. Talk to you later.
I love you too, Barry.
You know he's going to be calling you every 5 minutes.
Barry is Barry. I can always turn off the phone.
What did I tell you?
Text message from Barry. He says hi to you too.
Yeah, he's also got a bit of a stalker in Barry, to be fair.
Come on, let's get back to the car.
Now, there are quite a few cutscenes in the game, as you'd expect, since it's highly story-driven.
He's waiting for us.
And as I've said previously, it's kind of put into chapters. Now, the one slight thing I don't like about Alan Wake is every time a chapter ends, it will then, when the new one begins, it'll give you a brief overview of what just happened in the previous chapter, which is kind of irritating. I mean, sure, if you weren't paying much attention or it's been a long time since you played the game, it's kind of nice.
Still places like this.
But other than that,
Towns where everybody knew
it's
everybody.
kind of annoying, to be fair.
I was wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for...
Mr. Wake, Alan Wake. Oh, God! I am your biggest fan. I know people say that all the time, but I really am.
I'm glad to hear that.
Rose.
Rose, I'm looking for Mr. Stuckey. Carl Stuckey?
Carl? Of course, Mr. Wake. He must have gone to visit the restroom. He'll be back in a moment. I can't believe it. I've got all your books. I got the cutout from the bookstore when they took it out of the window.
And to keep it here. Well, okay. Good for you.
That's a bit scary, to be honest. Ooh, I see coffee thermos. I can't actually remember what they're for.
Do me a favor, Sonny. I could really use a tune right now. Coconut, number 6 in the jukebox. I'd do it myself, but both of my legs have gone to sleep. Bad circulation. Yeah.
Do you do that for this guy?
Coconut again? You disgust me.
Go in there, young man. You can hurt yourself in the dark.
I think I can handle it, ma'am. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to find Stuckey, to get the key and get out as soon as possible. The waitress was giving me a headache. Overeager fans always did.
And locked, and locked, and locked, and locked.
Hello?
Anyone home?
Mr. Stuckey?
Carl couldn't make it. Unfortunately, he was taken ill. But I have the key for you and instructions on how to get to the lake.
Okay.
I wish you a good stay in my cabin. I'll come by later to check how you've settled in. And to meet your wife. I insist.
Thanks.
She's a lovely lady. No one likes her, but...
Cauldron Lake is a special place. Very inspiring.
I mean, who the hell would want to go on holiday to Cauldron Lake?
Man, you can hurt yourself in the dark. This really ought to be fixed, and then I must remind Seth.
Even that sounds better than your singing.
Are you alright?
The Andersons, they're, local musicians. We're waiting for Dr. Hartman to come pick them up. They wandered off from his clinic at the call.
Bye, Mr. Wake.
That should do the trick.
Mission accomplished. The key and the directions.
My hero. I got some flashlights, just in case.
We're definitely going to need those.
Hey, wait! Mrs. Wake! Your keys!
That diner was a real nut house.
Can you believe this place? This would make a wonderful setting for a book.
We're supposed to be on vacation, Alice. I'll figure it out when we get back home. Okay?
Okay. We can talk about this later.
Batman here on PBFF.
I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to bury my head in sand.
Here's another one of my favorites to go with it.
Once upon a time, I was a successful writer, but that was a long time ago. I hadn't been able to write a word in 2 years, not since my last book.